When you first started gigging, did you have stage fright, and how did you overcome it?
Ooh, yeah, I did. I had massive, not stage fright like, oh, shaking and terrified, but my first few shows, I was really afraid because especially even back then, I think I played my first real shows when I was like 18 or 19, and my music back then was even like darker and heavier and wankier than it is now, if you can imagine that. Um, and I was really afraid of of playing it for people because it felt so personal and vulnerable, and I didn't, and I was playing for strangers, and they didn't know me, and they didn't like my music, and they couldn't have liked my music because they never heard it, and it took an amazing amount of like just psyching myself out to get up on stage and sing these really, really dark personal songs for people because I was, as I think back on it, the thing that was scariest about it is that if it felt like if they didn't accept my music or didn't like it or were sort of ambivalent about it, I felt it, I took it completely personally. Because it was like, it was basically like sitting in front of people and reading them my journal and saying, these are my deepest, most innermost thoughts and fears. What do you think? And to hear someone say like, yeah, it was okay. It was just devastating. And so I was going into that situation having to brace myself for some people aren't going to like this. And if they don't like it, I'm taking it as a total personal affront. And I had to deal with that. And it was really hard. I remember my first, the first show I ever played when I was 18, there was maybe, it was at the college I was going to, and there's maybe 30 people in the audience. I had flyered the campus, and like, the few people that I knew, I convinced them all to come, um, and when I got done, like I think people were kind of impressed by the music, but I think they were also mostly kind of weirded out. I remember someone, like some friend of mine, coming up to me after the show, and instead of being like, "Oh, your songs were really great. That was wonderful. You're talented," and yay, she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I don't know. I'm just kind of worried about you." And I was like, "Great, this is fantastic." But I had to, you know, I dealt with that for a long time. I mean, I would even into my mid 20s. Like if I had a show coming up, I would I would I would be kind of a wreck for like a week. It would be like, oh my god, there's 7 more days till the show, there's 6 more days till the show, there's 5 more, and then morning of the show, I would wake up and be like, I'm gonna play for people tonight, and it was, and I took myself really seriously, but everybody has to go through that, I think, and you have to go through what you have to go through. I think my years as a street performer also really, really helped me to just shed any stage fright or fear that I had, because when you're a street performer, you're like a totally, anyone can say and do anything. Like it's really you up against the world, and that gives you nerves of steel. So if you're worried about stage fright, go be a street performer for a couple of years, and when you get on stage, you'll feel like it's the safest fucking place to be because at least you're not in the street. um, but yeah, I mean, I found that the more gigs I did, it just went away and went away and went away, and now it's, you know, now it's just gone. And also, the more gigs you play, the less important each gig is, because you're allowed to, like, if you're playing hundreds and hundreds of gigs, you're allowed to play a bad gig, and it won't ruin your life. When you've only played 3, if you play a really bad one, that's a third of the shows you've ever played have been terrible, and that's bad odds. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of practice and dealing and just, doing it again and again and again and again and getting used to it. And I think we're good. Yeah. Can we get a round of applause for this awesome woman here, Heather? Set this all up.